Yeah, if it's your first time joining us, thanks so much. It's nice to meet you. My name's Trevor Nelson, Jason Ledlow. We've got our production gal Bailey. She's on going to help out with any questions you have coming in. If this is your first time or you're a repeat guest, this is a very interactive webinar, and we have chat feature on the side. We got Q&A function at the bottom. You can ask questions anonymously. Jason and I are here to answer as many of those questions as we can get to, so please keep them coming throughout the entire webinar. If you are registered and you're watching this as a recording on our YouTube channel, do us a favor, subscribe, leave us a comment, leave us a question. We'll definitely get to those as well. Thanks so much, everybody, for coming. We love talking about auction items because it's what we spend a lot of time doing. We're going to talk about the best approach to auction items in 2024 and really get into what donors want. Like, what is really, really piquing the interest of donors these days, and some really, really cool data and downloads that we've had from 2024. We've learned a lot, as a matter of fact, at HGA Fundraising about that. And then stay till the end and win, everyone. Do us that favor, and we will be giving away some HGA bucks. We don't know how many yet, but some really cool prizes at the end of the webinar. As mentioned, my name's Trevor Nelson. My business partner, Jason Ledlow. We're from HGA Fundraising, and we're so happy that you all are here. Thanks so much for coming. We're going to get right into it. The
Yeah.
best auction, the best approach to auction items in 2024. And we like to say, Jason and I have said this ad nauseum, your donors can get anything pretty much shipped to their, can get a ton of stuff shipped to their front door by Amazon overnight, So gone are the days of having a bunch of junk, in the silent auction and
We call that
undesirable.
merchandise, Trevor.
Yeah,
Merchandise.
yeah, yeah, no,
Merchandise.
yeah, CPG merchandise, yeah, things like that. You don't want to be putting that in your silent auction. I will also say, disclaimer though, we think that we know a lot, but we don't know everything. We want to tell you, we want to give you a little disclaimer. If you have 30 live auction items, if you have 120 items in your silent auction and you're absolutely crushing it year in and year out, I'm not asking you to leave, but keep doing what you're doing. If what you're doing is working, fantastic. If you are at it, not necessarily at an impasse, but you're just kind of like looking at data from previous years and going, hey, listen, we need to revamp the live auction. We need to be a little more thoughtful with our silent auction and raffles and things of that nature. That's why we're here to share some really important feedback, and like I said, stuff that we've downloaded and data that we've extracted from the last 6 months, for instance. And we're in the trips and experience business, so we see a lot of what's going on with the donor landscape right now. And let's talk, Jay, about like what
Well, I think we were
donors
involved in
want.
over 1,000 auctions
Yeah,
and
well,
events last year, more than that.
yep,
And
yep,
so we get all that data,
yep,
both donated, consign, all this stuff comes in, and we're real fortunate we get to do all that, and we can look at it and see kind of what's going on. And I've been doing this for 30 years, so my experience from 30 years ago has evolved immensely. And for everybody, other folks here, I know that a lot of you have been doing this for a long time. It's just a different world now. And, it's what do people want? And
yeah,
how do we get the most money out of it? How do we get it? And it's a tough thing, you know, donations. How do we get the best donations? How do we get donations that are going to be meaningful for our event, not just from dollars, but for the live auction, silent things like that? What do we do with the stuff? I think that's
yeah,
really important. So go ahead,
yeah.
Trevor. I didn't mean to switch
No,
off. I just
I
wanted to say
you
that
yeah,
this isn't just stuff. We don't have an agenda here.
yeah.
We do this stuff. This is what we do, but that's not the agenda. The agenda is just to help you raise more money
Yeah.
and to know. So
Well, you just teed that up really nicely because you said let's talk about donation items and why they're important, why you need to have them.
mhm.
But let's just not talk about just any donation item. I did a coaching call with an organization this week where they said, I have a signed jersey that's in my office because it didn't sell last year. It's right behind me, as a matter of fact, because we were talking about being deliberate and intentional with the right
Yeah.
items. So let's talk about just not just any donation items, taking all comers, but being deliberate about how much people power and hours it takes to procure those items. And then how you can use the power. Let's get into it a little bit, Jay, but like how you can use the power of your committee, and let's get into the people exercise about how we can access really cool donation items that folks actually want, that give them that, for instance, a once in a lifetime experience or the dinner with someone famous, or how do we get those kinds of items?
Well, the first thing that we have to do, and this is, I'm going to default this. I know some of you out there are maybe your committee's not so strong, your board's not real supportive, so it winds up falling back on or maybe you're running a committee and you find out that it just kind of falls on you. The reason that happens a lot of times is because we don't get focused on what we're trying to do. We
Mhm.
sit around in a room and we go, has anybody got any cool ideas? Somebody goes, yeah, wouldn't it be cool if,
Yeah.
but we don't have any place to start with. And, sure, a trip in a private jet to a private vineyard home in Napa Valley would be fantastic.
Yes, it would.
But if you don't know somebody with a private jet and you don't know somebody with that stuff, it's kind of hard to do it. But what we found, and the thing that we coach nonprofits to do, and something that I've done for the last 10 years or so, um, it's what do we know, who do we know, and how can they help us? And that's a people exercise. So the first thing that to get great donations is start with the people exercise. And the way you do that is you make a list. And this also helps you with sponsorships. This is the basis, I believe, of starting any fundraiser. Even if you're already into it, you can do this really quick
Absolutely.
with your group, because it's not what you know, it's who you know. Everything is relationship driven.
So true.
And most powerful fundraising tool, let me do my little thing, your phone, everybody's got one. So when you sit with your committee, and I'm going to give you the 2-minute version. You make a list and you just say, okay, who do we know in our community? Who do we know in our phone? Pull your phone out, start scrolling through it that we think that might help us. And you write down the names and you say, Carrie, Laura, Liz, and Lori. I've got Laura and Lori. Okay, so I just pulled y'all off the list here. And so, okay, and I'm not using anybody in specific, but just say, okay, can Carrie write a check for $10,000 and not miss it? Yep, she sure can. Okay, she's loaded. Can Laura write a check for $10,000 and not miss it? Nope. Can Liz? And this is an idea. Do you know for sure? If you're not sure, doesn't mean that Laura doesn't have 10,000. It just means I just personally don't know.
Don't know.
I
Yeah.
know Laura, but I don't know that if she can or not. Okay, I don't. I'm not real sure. Um, Liz, can she do that? Yes, no. You go down that list and you just put a check by it. The next thing you say is, because we're looking at sponsorships, underwriting, things like that as well in our nonprofit for our fundraiser. Then we go down the list. Can Carrie fill a table with people who could come and be a part of an event? Yes, she could. Could Laura? I'm not really sure. So it's a no. Liz, and not a no. You just don't check the box. Can Liz? Absolutely. Can Lori? You bet. Then you go special access. Okay.
And this is where we get into the items.
You
Yeah.
and special access means, okay, I go down the list. Does Carrie have special access? She does because she's got capacity and, other stuff, but not really sure. What about Laura? Yeah. Laura's brother is an astronaut at NASA. It's kind of a big deal. All right. That's access. That's knowing something. Liz, her brother's the drummer in for the Goo Goo Dolls. Who would have thought it? Okay, wow,
Ooh.
that's kind of cool. I don't know what we're
Yeah.
going to do. Lori, you know what? They have this phenomenal backyard and they love to entertain. Okay, so all those things start coming together and we start looking, what do we have access to? It's not what I want to go get, it's just what do I have? So we've done things help, and when I say we, I'm talking about all the committees, nonprofits that I've worked with over the years that have done things like, because there are multiple and they have different access. Like we had a group one time that they had a really close connection with two state legislators here, the majority leader, the minority leader. And so what they did is they put together, they went out to found somebody who catered. They went and found a chef that would do the catering for them, put together a program, got somebody to put the wine. They said, look, we're going to do a dinner for 10. And with this, the minority leader of a state legislator and the majority leader came up there and had the auction. They both sold for $10,000 a piece. Now, why was that important? It's because, out of pocket, what did it cost them? $1,000 for the food and stuff? I mean, it didn't even cost them that much. But the thing is, it was access, because the donors, the people out in the audience that were buying it, that's what they wanted, because they could not get that. That's what it is about access. The things that people want, they want trips, experiences, and that are once in a lifetime.
Yeah. In this case, things that they can't just go Google and just
Yeah,
download. right?
you
It's
know?
like your brother's an astronaut, your
Exactly.
brother's the drummer of the Goo Goo Dolls. It's like you
Yeah,
would only know that if you asked. Yeah,
well, maybe he's not going to come to a concert, but maybe he does
like
a private concert on
recording.
Zoom.
Yeah,
It's a remote. He's not
totally,
even here, but he
totally.
does. We had an event where we sold that for somebody, and it brought like $8,000.
Yep,
Didn't
absolutely.
cost anything. Basically, it didn't cost a whole lot of money. Didn't cost any, but it was relationship driven.
Yeah. Let
You
me
know,
interject really
yeah,
quick too,
please.
because like this is really, really cool because we're always talking about the novelty of some of these items, how they can be attention grabbing when you're advertising these items pre-event.
Mhm.
All these things make a huge difference to, bringing joy to the event and things that folks want. Because we talk about what do your donors want, and the best approach to auction items in 2024. If you're being creative and just utilizing, the Jason's people exercise, you're going to find and you're going to get to the bottom of what who folks know, what you can do. And if you add something like that, like the Zoom concert, that people can watch a private viewing, that I got to be honest with you, that's just cool. Those are items that you can't just download,
Mhm.
and there's a need for items like that, trust me. But those kinds of things, when you do the people exercise and you find the special access, that's just gold. I think it's awesome. You know what I mean? I just don't think people utilize it enough. It's right there
Well,
too.
the other thing I think that you got to look at is how much money are you trying to raise?
Good call. Remember the math.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I like to start at the end. Where do I need to be?
Hmm.
Everybody's got a budget. Or you should have a budget. If you don't, I've never met somebody who didn't say, well, we really want to make $26,000 in our live auction. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what do you have donated so far? We've got a Yeti cooler, a 12 pack
Well,
of
pack of
beer,
beer.
and some koozies. All right.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
you're going, okay, well, that's
Yeah.
one. What are we going to do with
Sounds like,
that? How
hey,
are we going to
that
make
sounds
some
like a
money?
nice Saturday
Okay.
afternoon,
All
Okay.
right.
Throw
We're
some ice in
rolling.
there. Yeah.
So the whole idea is that you've got to start with things that people want. And let's be real. Okay. Um, the trailer at the lake that's kind of cool, but it's not the deal. You're not going to have the top tier of your people bidding on that. They don't care. You know,
They already have
they
the
have a
Yeti
place
cooler.
at,
They already have the trailer.
they don't
Yeah.
want to go to Eufaula because they got a place. They have their own place at Grand Lake. And I remember years ago, I asked, this is 30 years ago, and I asked a lady, I said, and at the time I didn't know any better, but I said, where's all the money at? Who's all got all the money? And they're telling me all the people that had money there, because I was a young kid doing the auction. And I got up there and nobody bid on anything. And I remember saying, well, how come they, I'm thinking to myself, well, why didn't they bid? Well,
Yeah.
I know now there was nothing there they wanted.
Totally. Yeah.
It wasn't the fact that they didn't have it. So if you're going to do, auctions do a great thing. And we've gone from putting 30 items in to putting, 8 to 12, and now it's down to,
Four to
6 to
six or
8,
whatever.
4
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
6, whatever.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just time's money. But as you're doing that, you've got to think about what is it that people want? Who is it going to appeal to? Just because somebody gives you something doesn't necessarily mean it's going to appeal to your group. Now,
Yeah.
you want to be respectful. We want to be equal opportunity receivers, but be thoughtful about how you do that. So let me give you a couple of thoughts on this. One of the things that people love are, and these are just some ideas,
Hmm.
you know, dinners. Dinners are
Love
phenomenal.
it. Yep.
Love them. They do great
Give an
because,
example. Give an
it's
example what that
so
looks like.
let me give you an example. So let's just say it's hard to go to a restaurant. It is. I'm just telling you, especially now with inflation, everything like that, food costs, it's hard to go to a restaurant and say, "Hey, Trevor, man, we've got our event coming up. It's going to be here in about 90 days. We'd love for you to do a chef's dinner. Would you be willing to do that for us?" And Trevor's like, "Well, let's see. How dinner for, well, tell me more about it. Is it dinner for two? No, we like a dinner for 10.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay, 10. Let's see. Two, three. Okay, wow, that's going to be kind of costly. It's tough to make that deal work. Okay, because he gets hit up all the time. But if you go to Trevor and say, "Hey, Trevor, we're putting together this event. I don't want you to have to pay for the food, but would you just provide the staff and the place? I know you've got a great party room back here. Could we use that? And then we'll pay for the food. We'll pay for it. I've got a sponsor who's going to do it. And then we'll also got somebody, and I know you can't bring wine, if your state allows you to bring wine in, you can get the wine sponsored, but we'll cover the food and the wine and then
Cool.
anything else they can pay for." And he goes, yeah, I want to do that because he gets to showcase his um, restaurant. He
Food
gets
is
to
good.
participate, but it's not going to break his back when it comes to financially. Because,
Hmm.
it's hard to go give something that's going to be a $3,000
Well, the
deal.
margins are so thin for restaurants, but it's a great
Yeah,
idea to get
it's
it
really tough.
underwritten. Yeah.
But that same dinner for 10 all of a sudden becomes something kind of a fun, exciting. This is going to be a chef's plate at dinner. It's going to be this, that, and the other. It's going to have
We only have
wine,
one.
this,
Yeah.
that, and the other.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, and we've seen these sell for $5,000, $6,000 a piece and sell it twice. And
Yep.
all of a sudden, you've taken 10,000. We ought to have 26 grand. We just made it 10. It cost us 2 grand because $1,000 a meal because he worked the deal on the food with us and said, I've got this wine we're going to provide. And all of a sudden you've netted 10 grand. Now that's a
Love it.
pretty good auction item,
That's a
when
cool
you're
option
netting
item. Yeah.
$10,000. So
Yeah.
that's the way that you need to, I believe that we need to think about how we're going to go and get these items and when we're doing it. What can we do? What do we have access to? Some of the fun things that are creative, and I'll just kind of hit on some things, and
Hmm.
if anybody's got any things that you've done that have been fun, would you mind
Please
sharing
share
those in the
hits
comments?
and misses. Yeah. Don't be
And we'll share
bashful.
those out. It just comes to us, and we'll parse that out. But what we like to do, and what we've seen is, again, it's experiences. Somebody's got we talked about having a great backyard. Let's have a party. Let's have a
No question.
buy-in party.
Yeah.
They can have 50
Totally.
people. Okay, we've got somebody with a backyard. We've got a local brewer that's willing to donate a keg of beer. We've got a barbecue place that said they'd do a barbecue for us. We take those things and roll it all together, and we say, look, we're going to have a party. It's going to be at Trevor's backyard. It's going to be on this date, and we've got 25 tickets for 50 people. We've got 25 tickets for couples. We're going to sell them for $200 a piece. You raise $5,000.
Boom. Awesome.
Bingo,
Awesome.
done.
Yeah.
And
Creative.
all of a sudden you've got, and another thing it does, it lets a lot of people kind of join in.
Yeah.
So those are things that are a lot of fun that you can do with donations.
I love that. Before we get into like other
Yeah.
ways that you can procure items and things like that, I don't think that we talk about this enough. I think maybe some organizations, maybe they do. I'm not presupposing that you don't, but we don't talk about it enough. And about how memorable experiences can be, whether they're donated items like the ones that we're articulating, or even consignment opportunities like the ones that we offer. you know, someone leaves your event with a ticket to an experience like
Hmm.
that, or leaves your event with an item that's a once in a lifetime experience to Italy, for instance. I have to think that they're going to remember where they got it from. You know what I mean? I just don't think that when we're being really, really deliberate about where we get, what items we place in the event. I really think that you need to be, of course, because less is more now, it seems like, of course. Folks
Yeah.
want creative experiences and different opportunities to bid. You have to think that folks remember those things. They're going to remember being in that backyard party with 24 other couples having a great time and where they got it from. And that can't be overlooked because they got it from your organization. They're able to give and they were receiving at the same time. They were leveraging that the giving budget and receiving, some fun tickets in return. You know what I mean? I don't
Hmm.
think those things can be overlooked. I know it sounds
Yeah, I
more
don't
existential,
disagree at
but yeah.
all. I don't disagree at all. And I think that's where everybody's got, you've really got to tie this back in is, what do they want? One of the things that happens is to do a survey. How
Love
cool
that.
is it to do a survey and go, hey, what do you guys see? What does everybody want? Is it
Huge.
travel? Is it this? Is it that? Are you looking for special experiences? Maybe it is some stuff.
Yeah,
Maybe you do. And stuff can be great, okay, if it's in the right context and the right thing.
sure.
We know I know of an event where they were donated a new heat and air, complete new heat and air system for a home.
Hmm.
It brought like $8,000.
Those
Okay.
things have value.
And it did. It was completely donated, but it brought 8 grand because it has value.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I've got a question. Says talk about how to discern what should be a live auction versus a silent auction item, like a
Well,
Tripper Chef experience.
it's
Perfect.
almost like April knew what our timeline was,
Yeah.
actually. I don't know if that
So
got leaked out to the public, but that was
yeah.
exactly what we were going to talk about, is the placement of items and why it's crucial to consider where we're putting items. Like I wanted to mention, Jay, I'm cutting you off, but I wanted to mention, you know, obviously there's different revenue streams: silent auction, live auction, raffles, games. We used to say you want to have a minimum of 5 revenue streams at your auction. That could involve items, of course, donations and consignment opportunities alike. But yeah, like you can raise more money. Was a famous, famous. There's this moment where a friend of ours came on the webinar and said, "I've got George Strait tickets, and they
Yeah.
were donated." And I said, "Oh, live auction," without thinking. I was like, "Oh, those sound awesome," because I was putting myself in the event. And Jay said, "Well, hold on for a second. What's the most you've ever raised in the live auction?" I think Paula said like, on an item itself. And Paula said $2,000. He's like, "Nah, we're gonna make this. What you need to do is go get a hotel room. You need to get dinner. You got the two George Strait. Let's make it a golden ticket raffle." And she did that, and she got those other donations, procured very, very deliberately. And then she ended up selling, $200 raffle tickets with the George and made way more than she would have if she put it in the live auction. So absolutely, April placement's huge. I you know
Well, can I touch on that one more
I
time?
want you
So
to, yeah,
we
please.
we we get we get donated stuff a lot that really probably doesn't work in the live auction, or it might not bring really what its value. I'll give you a great example. You just
Yep,
used the George Strait tickets.
yep.
Well, this is a really thing. How many people in our crowd would like to go to the George Strait concert? Probably all of them. There's probably not very many people in this specific crowd that would have said no to going to see George Strait. It was in
Yeah.
Texas, for goodness sakes, okay? And so, he's a Texan. So pretty much everybody would want to go see George Strait. Well, how many of those people would be willing to pay, $5,000
Yeah, or more.
or could pay
Now you're
$5,000?
talking about a very small cross
So
section of the donor
then the
database.
number
Yeah,
goes very small.
yeah,
So that
good
was a
call.
really simple thing to go, okay, well, how many could pay $200 for a chance to go to see George? All of them. All right.
Yep.
So there you go. And now we're starting to think about how these things work. So we had an event similar. There was a piece of custom jewelry that was made by a local artist for the organization. It was a ring. It was a very unique ring. When I say unique, what I mean is it's not going to ring everybody's bell.
Mhm.
Not everybody would give $8,000 for this ring. That was the value that was put on by the artist, by the person. Beautiful, beautiful ring, but I mean, it was unique. So in the live auction, it's going to be tough. Okay, it's going to be tough for that. Jewelry is difficult a lot of times in a live auction. So I said, well, why don't we do this for the golden ticket? So they sold 43 tickets at $200 a piece. The winner was happy. The people that bought the tickets were happy.
Yep.
The artist was beside herself because it raised $8,600. All that is, so we want to, be really thoughtful about what it is we get. Sometimes the donated items we can leverage everybody's interest
Totally.
versus just a few.
Critical
Um,
mass. Yeah,
and so,
huge.
just because it should bring, the George Strait tickets, well, we think they'll bring, $5,000. It ought to bring five. But we've never done. We don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know how many $5,000 buyers do I have in my group. I've got to have at least maybe two.
right,
That way they bid
right.
against each other. So we don't always have that.
Yep.
So keep
Yeah.
those things in mind when you're looking at everything that you've got. Say, okay, what's the best way for us to offer this? Now, we talked about silent auction. It was, what do you decide? And Trevor and I have talked about this before, and we've looked at the numbers, and it's really astounding to us. But I've never seen this before. But over the past
Yeah.
12 months, in the running 12, started last year, we started seeing it the second half of last year, the silent auction is raising, as items are bringing more in the silent auction than in the live auction. I'll give you a great example. We had a client, they had a silent auction, they had a live auction. The most expensive thing in the live auction was $4,900, and it was a dog.
Yeah.
The most expensive thing in the silent auction was $15,000, and it was a trip.
Mm-hmm.
It was
As
a
a villa.
villa
Yeah.
to Greece.
That happened in
So
the same week and at two totally
two
separate
totally separate
events
deals.
in the silent auction.
And we're
Fifteen
seeing this
thousand
happen.
dollars.
And
Yeah.
why is that? Because people want what they want.
Yeah.
They're walking through and they see things. So here's my whole take on the live auction, silent auction thing. The live auction is there for more than just to raise money. It's also to raise energy and excitement and
Totally.
get people fired up. Okay.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
what you can do. The other thing is we want to appeal to, in my mind, there are several different layers in the silent auction. I want to try to appeal to as many to the very, very top to get them involved,
Yep.
because they can give in the fund a need, they can give in the live auction, they got plenty of money.
And
Okay.
those are different budgets, just for the record.
Yeah, well, there some of them are the same, some of them are different. Doesn't really
Yep.
matter because
Yep.
when you got somebody who can write a check for $10,000 and not miss it, it doesn't matter. It's
Totally doesn't matter.
they
Yep.
got plenty of money.
Yep.
What they
What I
want.
mean, what I mean with that is, if they're giving in the silent, it's not going to take away what they're giving in the funding.
Exactly.
Is what
It's
I'm
not
trying to
going to
say.
change
Yeah.
that. Yeah, that's one of the mistakes that everybody thinks that that's not how it works. And we've seen that statistically over time. I mean, 1 out of 1,000 will go, yeah, well, if I hadn't have bought that stuff in the live silent auction, I would have bought that over there, or some vice versa. It's
Totally.
and
They're
half the time
disparate.
that's the person could have bought the whole everything in the auction.
Right.
And
Right.
it was a decision based on not on capacity. So the live auction is really what's going to get people excited, what's going to get them involved, and how am I going to get to that can really get the thing going. Here's another part. Old auction items. If you've had the same thing donated for I'll give you an example, a suite, okay? Let's say it's a suite to a local, because we have it here. We've got a minor league, a very good minor league, one of the nicest minor league stadiums around.
The
And they've got a
Dodgers.
suite.
Yeah.
And they donate. That's what they do for raising money. They donate it out. And so what they put it in the auction, it's going to bring a couple of grand, anywhere from probably $2,000 to $4,000, and it does it over and over again. But if you've kind of got the same people coming to your auction every year and you kind of have that crowd, after about the third, fourth, fifth year, everybody who's bought it and bid on it has already got it.
Yeah.
So now it's only going to go to the people that, yeah, sure, I bought it last year and it's sure is cheap, so I'll buy it again. That's not what we're looking to do. We're not looking for the discount bargain stuff. But that item, if you move it to the silent auction or maybe change it to a buy-in, hey, we're going to have a party at this deal. We're going to have free drinks, beers, food, all this
Food,
stuff.
the whole thing. Yeah.
And do the whole thing.
Getting creative with it. Yep.
And it gets creative.
Yep.
But, you've only got so much stuff in the silent auction. You can't have 25 or 30, Trevor said 30 items. And if that's what you do and you love it and it works for you, great. But
Fine.
For the most people, each item takes 3 minutes. That's just what it takes.
In the live. Yeah.
In the live auction. It takes 3
Yep.
minutes. By the time you read everything off, get your attention, sell it, and move on. So let's say that you've got 5 items. Okay, that's 15 minutes. Plus you've got a fund a need. Plus maybe you've got a raffle. So you're trying to keep that in 30-minute, that 30, 40 minutes time. Maybe you've got a different event and you say, you know what, we've got 10 items. That's what they expect. That's what that's where it goes. So don't be afraid to put things in the silent auction. It's
Long
gone
story
from
short,
we've seen it going from being a silent auction is, well, that's where we put the also rans. That's where we put the discount stuff.
It's not
First of
purgatory
all,
anymore.
we don't want if you have discount stuff, discountable and stuff that you can buy a pile of it on Amazon in your silent auction, that's the kind of prices you're going to get. Everything's going to be 50 cents on the dollar.
Totally.
But if you have things that everybody would want and you highlight those and let people know, they'll bid on it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I've personally bought stuff in the silent auction, and I bought a movie poster that was Butch and Sundance. It was signed by Paul Newman and Robert Redford, and we ran out of paper, turned it over, and kept on bidding against each other because it's something that we both wanted. And finally, we got to the end. We were about out of time. We flipped a coin for it, and the other person had to give $500 more. I won. But awesome. The point of it is don't be afraid. If it's stuff people want, they're going to bid on it.
Yep.
If it's stuff that nobody really wants and they go, well, it seems cheap, well, then they'll bid on that too. So be thoughtful about it. April says, let's say you've got, let me read it real quick. Lost on the auction item I really wanted. I came in second. Potentially missed donated money for your organization. Have you ever reached out to the people? Oh, that's a really good question.
Lori's question is around the same thing, just how to bring them back after leaving the event.
Okay. All right. So we're going to hop in. If it's okay, Trevor, can we hop into consignment real quick?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like we're getting right into the consignment opportunities.
This is for silent auction and live auction. And live auctions, and I'm going to use consignment items because it's multiple and multiple items. Okay?
You can sell it more than once. That's a beautiful thing about it.
That's the beauty of consignment. Yeah.
I'm going to backtrack to what Amy said last week. She said at all MDA events they have when they have a live auction, and she'll be on with us next week for all things Gala, the Q&A. We have a registration link that we'll add before we leave here. But she said, no matter what, at minimum, I have one consignment item in my live auction because I can sell it multiple times. It takes me 3 minutes because, like Jason said, it takes 3 minutes on average to sell a live auction item if you're selling multiples. And we can get into the weeds if folks don't know how to do that or if they've ever heard of that before. But it's such a tremendous opportunity to sell an items 6, 8, 10 times. You can hit lightning in a bottle, sell it more if you like, if you have the right destination. In 3 minutes, you can raise tens of thousands of dollars in 3 minutes in your live auction. What's really, really cool and what we're constantly trying to educate folks about and just talk about in general by giving away this information is that you can sell items, consignment opportunities, multiple times, sometimes donations too, but consignment opportunities, you can sell them multiple times in the silent auction as well. Tell us how to do that. In both
Okay,
scenarios.
well, let's just talk about. Let me answer that question. What I'm gonna use this as an example of how you can do it. I'm gonna talk about in a silent auction.
Cool.
A live auction we'll come back to, but in a silent auction, here's how you can do it. Because basically, what April asked, I think it's Laura's as well, is I had somebody who came in second. They didn't win. How do I go and get them to get more money? Okay. They lost the auction item. They didn't do it. Let's say that their bid was $5,000 and the winning bid was $5,100. How do we, that's money lost that we potentially lost. Okay. So the beauty about using things that you can sell more than once, whether it's donated, consigned, I don't care, it doesn't matter, is we don't ever want to, we want to be equal opportunity receivers.
Good call.
So I'm going to give you a really simple way to do that. You've got their name. You know exactly who it is. If you're using software, if you're not using software, you should use software, but the software you can pull up and know exactly who bid. Because not only can I look at the person the runner up, but I can see the number 3, the number 4, and it may be, a $500-$600 spread. But all of a sudden, and we see this with a lot of our fundraisers that are professional fundraisers in the conservation world, things like that. They're go-getters. And what they'll do is they'll take that list, and I know that Trevor bid on it, Jason bid on it, Laura bid on it, and Jamie bid on it. Well, Jamie won, but Laura was the runner-up. Trevor was a couple of bids down, and a 300 or 400 back was where Jason quit bidding on it. Well, if I'm an enterprising fundraiser, and you should all be enterprising fundraisers, okay? I'm going to take that list and I'm going to go find that person. Now, it may not be you. Maybe you find somebody who knows everybody in the room and you've got a gregarious person, and they walk up and go, Trevor, oh my gosh, guess what? I know you didn't win that item. I know that you bid $4,800. It sold for $5,000. But guess what we can do? We can sell another one to you at your price for $4,800. Notice I didn't say $5,000. I said at his bid, $4,800. And what's Trevor going to say 90% of the time?
Sounds good to me.
Yes.
I'd probably say far
already
out.
said yes to it. Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
See, if I tell him, if I say, would you bid 5,000? I've got another one. Would you go ahead and bid 5,000? Well, he's already said no.
Yeah. He had an opportunity.
Yeah. He doesn't want to do it. But at his price, if you'll do that, I'm going to go, Jamie won. Let's say that it was Laura. I don't remember who I said, but let's just say it was Laura was the other person. And
we can.
I'm laughing at the question.
Yeah. No,
so I go to that person, say, you bid 4,700. Would you be willing to? We've got another one we can sell you at 4,700. Would you be willing to do that? What's she going to say? She already bid 4,700. Yes, you can do that. And let me ask you this: do you think Jamie's going to be mad because at $5,000? Do you think that's what she's going to be mad?
I don't think so.
No, I've never, not one time have I ever seen somebody get upset about this. And I've been doing this for 30 years.
Well, they're all winners now.
Because everybody cares about their group, because it's we're looking at this as a donation.
Yeah.
And so don't be afraid to get out there and be enterprising, go out there and do it. Even if Jason quit at 4,500, you can still go sell. If it depends on your profit where you're at. But, and all these things are doing this. So somebody asked, said, can you recommend a reputable consignment company? HGA
Yeah.
Fundraising is our company. And I'm going to
Yeah.
say we are one of the best in the nation. We do this. We sell thousands of trips, work with thousands of nonprofits. And so we're really, in they're all of our trips soup to nuts. However, there are other reputable companies out there that that maybe they do something
If
we don't.
we don't sell
You know,
alcohol, we don't
if
sell
you,
memorabilia items, we don't
yeah,
sell
we don't do
designer
memorabilia. We
purses.
don't sell that stuff. We
Yeah.
don't sell tickets to the Super Bowl. We
Yeah,
don't,
those are
if you want to go to the
options.
Kentucky Derby, we don't do that. That's just not what we do.
Yeah.
But we do sell trips and experiences that people like, and that we can do it.
I want to queue up another example though, Jay, as
Yeah.
well. I want to touch on selling donated items multiple times. So how do you set the table for that pre-event? I know the answer. It's it seems pretty simple, right? But how
Well,
do you
let's
set
just
up
talk
where
about
you?
let's
Yeah,
talk about this with the auctioneer. Okay, let's talk about
sure.
how we do this, because
No. Let me backtrack real quick.
yeah.
Talk to me about how you approach a donor about selling a donated item like a home multiple
Here's
times.
okay. Great
Sorry.
example. Great
Yeah,
example.
thank you.
I'm going to do it this way because I'm going to be very, very open in front. Trevor, thank you so much for donating your home. I really appreciate it. It's going to be awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I have a question. If we get an exceptional bid on it and a lot of interest, would you be willing to donate it a second or possibly a third time?
Yeah.
You don't want to wait until some people will wait until the night of
The
and try
moment
to
of,
pressure them
yeah.
when everybody's all there, and that's
Yeah.
just awkward. That's uncomfortable, and I don't ever want to put my donor in a position of that. I want to be very upfront because they're going to tell you, yes, absolutely. I tell you what, if this thing brings 10 grand, you can sell it two more times, because I want to help you raise 30 grand, and I know that's what it would do, and they'll put a price on it. But if it sells for $5,000, no. Because it's, it's, and that sounds funny that you would do that, but that's just the way that's the way it is. And
Because
you're
if it's a
giving
good
them an
item, the appetite's going to be there. The interest is going to be there. You kind of want to get
Yeah.
that going beforehand. Yeah.
I know I was at an event one time. A guy sold he had a place in Cabo, $5 million home in Cabo.
Mhm.
And he told me, he walked up to me and said, if you sell this to anybody but me for less than $10,000, I'm going to break your arm. In other words, he was willing, it was worth more for him to give the money than the inconvenience of using his deal, but he wanted to have it in there. That wound up bringing $15,000. He sold it twice, was ecstatic, it was great, all that stuff. But his point was, so just having that on, and he was telling me, because he's a friend of mine, so he could say that to me. It wasn't like he wasn't really going to break my arm.
Just communicate that though.
But having that very candid, open communication, and don't just say, "Hey, can we sell this more than once?" Just say, "If there's a lot of interest, if it really gets out there, would you be willing to do it again?"
Yeah.
That's all you have to ask.
Totally.
And they're going to say, "You know what? No, I just want to do this one," and that's okay. No worries. They're not going to be offended that you asked. They're not going to be going, "Well, no, I'm not going to give you anything now because you asked me too much."
Right. That's
No,
not what they're in it
shouldn't
for.
do that. Otherwise, they wouldn't be donating to you in the first place.
Two things, Jay. I want to do a call for more questions. We've got some great ones coming in. Thank you so much, and Bailey will read those off. Jay, I interrupted you because I wanted you to talk about getting donated items sold more than once, because I think that's really where we miss a ton of opportunities. It's very, very easy for us being the trips and experience consignment opportunity, because that's exactly what they are. They're an opportunity to raise more money. It's very easy for us being the trips and experience guys to say that you need something that you can sell multiple times. But it was really great that Jay was able to illustrate how you can sell donated items more than once as well when the opportunity arises. You were going to talk about talking to your auctioneer about the live auction and selling items multiple times if it's a consignment opportunity, like our trip to Tuscany, for instance, that has a reserve price of $24.95. Let's just use that as an example.
Yeah.
And you're talking to your auctioneer pre-event. How would you go about doing that? That way you set yourself up to sell multiples, spread the joy in the room, get folks bidding, sell six of them at a certain dollar amount. Talk to us about the whole thing, start to finish, with the auctioneer.
Everything I'm going to tell you is going to go counteractive. So I didn't start out, I've been doing charity auctions for 30 years. But 30 years ago, it was a whole different world. It's just, there were no consignment companies back then. There wasn't anything, nobody had trips and experience. It was, we would sell a living room suit because the local furniture store donated it. We would sell a golden frying pan because somebody thought that was a cool idea. All this goofy stuff that, somebody would have a car that was literally donated. You know, don't waste your time because the car dealer's not going to donate you a car unless you own the car dealership. Um, you know, there's always stuff to it. So be careful, be thoughtful about that. So you're talking about getting things that are donate. So everything in the auctioneer's lexicon is to sell it for the highest bid. That's just that's just the way we think as an auctioneer. And I'm retired, so I'm when I say this is what I used to do. But you think about it, it's always to get the most money I possibly can.
That's how you're trained. That's how you're conditioned.
And
Yeah, absolutely.
and I can tell you for years of doing this to say the backup bidder, let's say that Trevor's the backup bidder and I sold it to Bailey for, you know, $5,000 and Trevor was at 4,500. Trevor, I've got another one. Could you come up to $5,000? It's a 50-50 deal that he would do it. It's 50-50.
It's a chance we don't want to take.
Might,
yeah.
But he's likely, just as likely not to say no as he is yes. It's a flip of a coin. Okay. However, Bailey, he's at, you know, he's at 4,500.
Okay.
Bailey bids 5,000. I go back to him and he says no. And if I say, you know what, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to do something really cool. I've got Trevor over here at 4,500. I've got Bailey at 5,000. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to make $9,000. I'm going to sell it to you for Bailey for 4,500. I'm going to sell it to you, Trevor, for 4,500. I'm going to sell it to anybody else who wants it for $4,500. Now, what just happened? I could have sold it one time for sure for $5,000 and made $3,000. Okay, so that, because if it's $2,500, use easy math.
$2,500. Yeah,
sells for that, and it would do that. So if I'm sorry, $2,500.
No, I got you. Yeah, we're tracking.
So made $2,500.
Yeah.
But because I backed up, now instead of making $2,500, I made $4,000 because I sold it to two of you. Forget what it cost. The net dollars, what we're looking for that goes, because you got to raise $26,000. Remember in your live auction?
Yeah.
So we got to get that $26,000.
Sure.
So all of a sudden I've got four, and because I've sold it twice, everybody starts clapping. Hey,
exciting.
Anybody else want to go for only $4,500? It is almost automatic that somebody else is going to raise their hand.
Yep, and get involved.
Probably a person that may not even bid before, but they've watched it. They weren't really sure. The auctioneer was talking fast.
It's fear of missing out.
You know, I'm not really sure, but oh my gosh, I just want to be a part of this.
Yep.
They raise their number up.
Yep.
Happens all the time. We have a guest on. We have one of our guests here. She happens to be a client, and I'm going to use her for an example. They sold Tuscan Villa. We have. They sold it. The auctioneer sold it 7 times using this strategy. 7.
Awesome.
They made $3,000 a piece. They netted $21,000 in the live auction from one item. All these people got to participate, and it was exactly that deal. He had 3 people. The same auctioneer was in Texas, sold an item for $43,000. His top bid was $47,000. They net, because he thinks the strategy, he backed down. He had 3 people that had been bidding on it into the 40s. He went back to $43,000 and said, I'm going to sell it to you for $43,000, you for $43,000, and you for $43,000.
Yeah.
Then they had another person who hadn't bid, said, I'll take one too. They netted over $100,000 because of this strategy. Had they just sold it to the highest bidder, they would have netted less than half that.
Call me silly as well, though. When you have multiple people, it just, I'm just telling you, it's more exciting. Multiple people are getting involved. Multiple people are winning, figuratively and literally, and leaving the event winning. You know what I mean? I've literally seen people leave events holding things over their head, celebrating. Maybe they had a little bit to drink, but I walked out of a school event recently where people were celebrating and high-fiving what they won.
Oh yeah, we did the same.
It's good. It's just good. It's good business too.
There was a trip to the Masters before it was the year that the year before Tiger Woods won. Okay, when he came back and made the big win, and so 2019. So this was 2018. So they have the event. We sold it twice for $26,000. I did the exact same thing. I said, sir, you're at 27, you're at 26. I'm going to sell it to you for 26, you for 26. We just raised $52,000. The place went
Massive.
crazy. The
It's
two
massive.
bidders, the guys that were bidding against each other, are high.
Yeah.
They're high
It's
10. And I mean,
huge.
they're
And
just,
that's what you
everybody's
want.
so excited.
You mentioned this about the live auction, about how it's a time to celebrate and get the momentum going. Maybe you have your fund and
Yeah.
need after. Maybe you just announced the golden ticket winner, things like that. If we have time, I actually want you to get into the golden ticket strategy a little bit deeper. Hey, I hope that really helped about selling multiples. If it doesn't resonate right in this second, do us a favor. Bailey will put up the link. You can schedule a coaching call with Jason. Our time is free. It has no agenda, even though we're the best consignment company in the business. I don't mind saying so. And we offer what we offer. Items that we've procured and destination that we procured ourselves and book ourselves as well.
Yeah.
So
Well, hey, I want to get to these
schedule
questions.
that.
So Darlene and Bev
Yeah.
had two questions. They're very, very
Pretty
similar.
similar.
They're talking about
Yeah.
selling things after the event. So let me give you a
Yeah.
couple of examples. If they leave the event, yes, it's much more difficult after the
I
event
think
is over.
so. I think
It is
so.
after the event's over.
Yeah.
You're definitely going to lose momentum.
Mm-hmm.
However, you can do it. I recommend the day after. If your event's on a Saturday, send this. Make sure if you're using technology, you can do this because the email and the texting is all built into all these platforms. You send it the next morning.
Yeah, I think within
don't care if
24
it's
hours is
Sunday
huge.
morning, you're going, well, I don't want to send it on Sunday morning. Send it on Sunday morning. Don't wait till Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday to do it because you're going to
Good
lose
call.
out. You
Yep.
got to do it the day after, the next morning.
Good call.
Check this out. We just have another one. We sold, let's just say that you sold a vacation item like a Caribbean all-inclusive, okay? And you sold it 10 times for $2,500. You netted basically $10,000, and you got somebody else, and you go, everybody, we thank you so much for coming. We have another opportunity. If anybody didn't get the Caribbean vacation for $2,500, here's your chance to do it now.
Yeah, put a link
You
for them
give
to
them a
grab
link
it.
and let them do it. You
Yeah.
can do that. Okay. All the software is developed where you can do that. But I believe,
Absolutely.
in my experience, the best time is right after the event.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody leaves, if they get up and they walk out the door before you get that done, and let's say the auction ends at 9 o'clock and everybody's going home, and you miss somebody, call them that night. Call them up and go, hey, Trevor, hey, I know you were bidding on the auction. I've got another one. Your price was like $9,000. Would you be still at $9,000? Really helping to make us raise some money. We want to make sure, because if that $9,000, we're going to sell a bunch of kids to camp. Yeah, sure.
Love that.
Tie the mission to it. Make sure that you always tie the mission back into it.
I think that's huge. I think also piggybacking on that, I think even if they don't say yes, I think the night of, you have to, which it's going to be very rare, of course, because they did put their name next to that number, right? I do think that you take that opportunity the night of, if you can, and we're really, really politely nudging you and encouraging you to take that opportunity. If it's someone that bid that kind of that dollar amount, that kind of money on an item, maybe they've never been to your event, maybe they're a guest, maybe they have, you have to take that opportunity to thank them as well.
Yeah.
I think you start with that,
I want to hit on this question because we only got 12 minutes. We got to give some stuff away.
Yeah, love it.
We like
Love
to
it.
give stuff away.
Yep.
Lori has a question. She goes, if you have a consignment
Good
item,
question,
does the
Lori.
auctioneer start at the bidding at the $2,500 cost, the reserve price? Let me tell you. So, Lori, let me just tell you, first of all, that's a great question. We recommend, this is a very simple thing. Consignment items are meant to raise you money, okay? If you can't raise money with it, it does no good. So on a live auction, we'll talk about live and silent, we recommend that you set the minimum bid at 50%, except for certain items. Now, all inclusives that we have are all designed to raise $1,000 a piece. That's the way they're designed, the pricing structure to get what it is and to make it palatable, $1,000. But let's just say that it's the Italy trip that we talked about. It's designed to sell to make 50 to 100%. It could bring more, but it's designed that way. So it should sell for somewhere between $3,500 and $5,000. Okay, that's where it needs to sell. So you're going to make.
So if it's in the live auction, where do you start the bidding? If you're the
$2,500,
auction,
so
if you're the auctioneer,
you ought to make it's got to sell for $3,500 to there. So you got to tell your auctioneer,
yeah,
the minimum bid on this thing is $3,500. Okay. Because if you tell them it's $2,500 and they sell it for $2,500, they think that they've done a good job, and we've seen it happen. We've seen it happen where they go, I didn't tell the auctioneer, he got to $2,500 and he sold it. Because guess what? Sometimes it is, but that's the auctioneer's job. Okay, professional auctioneers know, and if that's the number, they'll help get it there. So that's what we've got. You've got to give that information.
Talk about where to start the bidding with the silent.
Silent auctions, the first bid, it should be 25%. So if it's
above the reserve, above the reserve,
the reserve. So if it's a $4,000 item, the starting bid, if only one person bids, you're making at least 25%. Do not ever, if nobody bids on it, fine. You doesn't
You have
cost
not lost anything. No exposure.
And to answer your question, Lori, with consignment, that's why it is. If it doesn't sell, you don't owe a thing. Okay.
Yeah, there's no exposure.
There's no financial obligation with us. If you could take every item we have, put it all in the auction. If nothing sells, you don't owe us a dime. And if anybody says that otherwise,
that's a huge red flag. That's a huge red flag.
Yep. And if they don't give you a fixed price on the item, don't do it. If they say, well, we're going to split the first 50%,
rev share, all that stuff,
and do all that, stay away.
Massive red flag.
It's just not it's not a good, it's the companies we have a lot of companies we can recommend. You said, you know what, I really don't like you guys. You know, you're cute and all that, but we want it to do somebody else. This is what I would do. On a $2,500 bid increment, you know, $2,500 item, never less than 100, probably maybe $200.
Yeah.
I'd do $200.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100,
the difference between
okay.
2,500, you know, let's say that you started off and you're going to put it up there. So it says 2,750.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do it at $250. It's $250, you know, so it's 2,500, you know, or maybe do it in $200. So the first bid's 2,750, 2,950, 3,000, 3,150. It sounds weird, but believe me, it works.
That's
okay.
Work. Having preset dollar
only $200 more.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing. Whenever you're having this in the silent
good question,
auction,
Darlene. Thank you.
Don't set it and forget it. Don't just put your silent auction out there and do it. I think the best strategy I've ever seen in a silent auction is you have a really cool sash,
and
it says "Ask Me."
Love it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you make it a really cool sash and you put it on the guys and girls, doesn't matter who's wearing it. That way they're walking around and they know, people know. Give them a little iPad or something they can use to help people bid on, especially if you're using software. And then it says, "Ask me." And they go, "Hey, tell me about this. Can you tell me?" And and all the information is going to be there. And you look at it. It doesn't matter whether it's a donated item, something. Maybe there's a question that they have. They go, "Is airfare included?" No, we don't have airfare. But here, what we do have, I know we've got airline tickets right over here that you could buy too. Okay. That's another thing. Don't ever combine airline tickets and a trip.
Yeah.
Because you don't need to. Sell the airline tickets. They'll net more dollars if you sell them separately.
Great point.
Just the last little thing.
Can we get some last minute questions before we start giving stuff away, everybody?
Okay.
Any last minute? Great questions today, by the way. Thank you so much.
While you're doing that, I've got to get our winner, brother. I got to make sure I got this.
Nice. Nice.
Come on.
I hope that helps everyone. And we can, obviously in the future, we'll definitely be doing another episode about auction items and just sharing what we're learning and things of that nature. But, hey, while you're doing that, let me share some data with folks. How about that?
Yeah.
2024 data, almost 5 months complete in 99. Thank you, Lori. I really appreciate that. I have a attention issue. Thank you. I saw that. It's very, very sweet. Thank you. Happy to help, by the way. Of all of the items that we've sold and that nonprofits have used to raise money in 2024, 92% of the destinations were international. Yeah. So folks, your donors are traveling abroad. I've mentioned this before, so apologies. Last time we checked, there were 400,000 weekly passport applicants in the United States alone. Your donors are going to be buying items, or pardon me, vacations, trips on Expedia, VRBO, Airbnb, hotels.com, Kayak, all these things. We'd rather see them buy it from you. Jason eloquently taught me this, 5 years ago. Folks are leveraging at your events. They're giving budgets with their travel budgets simultaneously. Give them the opportunity to do that because they are already buying those destinations, buying those trips and those experiences. We'd like to see them buy them from you. If you can sell multiples, fantastic. You can really, really raise a lot of money that way, but we'd like to see that happen at your event. So take that into consideration, please. Really, really cool trend that we noticed we've been noticing this for a while.
Well,
but
I want to just share one thing really quick. Everybody
please.
Says, what kind of trips do people want? There's 3 things. People want international destination, domestic,
beach,
and once in a lifetime.
Yeah,
That's what they want. And when we say international, that includes the beach destination.
for sure.
It's really crazy.
I'm going to interrupt you one more time before you
Yeah.
announce a winner, brother. You got a winner?
I do.
We're going to, Bailey, very, very nicely, she added the link for next week's. If you join us for last week's part 1 with Amy Myers, the vice president of community partnerships with MDA, does massive, massive fundraising events. If you're not a massive nonprofit, do not be scared off. If you have one staff member and yourself, this will be relevant to you if you're planning a fundraising event. If you're thinking about planning a fundraising event, you've never done one. If you've done 40 of them, you will learn something at part 2 of All Things Gala with Amy Myers next Thursday, same channel, noon Central. Come join us for that. It'll be really, really cool. And Amy's an absolute sweetheart and gives her time away for free and answers all sorts of questions. We had too many questions last week that we couldn't even get to all of them. So we're doing a part 2. So you won't want to miss that for sure.
Okay.
And our winner, sir.
All right. So I'm going to share my screen.
This is really fun if you haven't been here before.
All right. And my winner is Riley Kellner. Riley, reach up there and touch that spin button. And
all right, Riley, way to go.
Okay, here we go. And it's going to spin. And
what do we got?
200
HGA
bucks.
Wow.
All right. So what that is, it's just for any item that you use with HGA, you can
take $200 off.
Yep.
Just go ahead, take $200 off. Yeah.
So there you go.
Hey, congrats.
That's us.
Congrats, Riley. Thanks so much for joining us. That's awesome. Hey, tell us where you're from and your organization, if you don't mind, Riley. Thank you so much for coming. That's awesome. And then for winning, you have to tell a friend, and then they have to tell a friend in the space, and they have to come to the webinar and all that stuff. Not to redeem the HGA bucks, but it's just a favor that we ask, Jason and I ask out of you. No strings attached, of course, but tell a friend. Yeah. Thanks so much for coming, everybody. That's awesome.
You know, Trevor's point is really good. If you don't mind.
Which one?
If you would do this, just share this with another nonprofit professional. That's how we get the word out.
Cool, Riley.
Really would be thoughtful. Thank you so much for being here.
That's awesome. Really appreciate you coming. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. The Mile High City. That's fantastic. My dad's from Woodland Park, born and raised. So some Colorado people. Yeah.
Good job, brother.
Far out. Thanks so much. Hey, that was awesome, man. You're not even out of breath. You don't even look parched or anything like that. Thanks so much for sharing all that data, man. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Appreciate Bailey. Everybody. Thanks, Bailey. Thanks, everybody, for coming. We'll see you next Thursday if we don't see you before.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Bye now. Thanks. Have a great Thursday.